Hello, greetings from Vancouver, Canada. It is quite early here, 1 a.m., but we're delighted to be here and then present our research project and share with you our findings. I'm Anna Hakobyan from BCIT College. I'm a student, and here is my coworker, Tsoghik Grigoryan.
Hey, hi, I'm Tsoghik Grigoryan, PhD candidate at Simon Fraser University. Glad to be here with you today.
Okay, let's get started. And together, we're excited to present our research project titled Meta-Ethnography and AI in Post-Digital Pedagogy. In this talk, we explore how artificial intelligence, specifically ChatGPT, can support and expand the possibilities of qualitative research in education. By combining traditional meta-ethnographic synthesis with AI-assisted thematic analysis, we examine how educators and researchers can co-produce meaning with technology. Our goal is to share insights not only about methodological innovation, but also about how these tools can support professional learning, reflective practice, and more equitable, inclusive pedagogical methods. To briefly unpack the title, meta-ethnography refers to a qualitative method that synthesizes insights across multiple ethnographic studies, preserving interpretive depth while creating new conceptual understandings. When we say post-digital pedagogy, we're pointing to an era where digital tools like AI are no longer optional add-ons, but embedded within the very practices of teaching, learning, and research. In this context, we explore how tools like ChatGPT can work alongside traditional ethnographic methods to generate insight, support reflective teaching, and expand how we engage with educational narratives. In this presentation, we will walk you through an exploratory study that combines two methodological innovations, meta-ethnography and AI-assisted qualitative analysis using ChatGPT. We synthesized 14 published meta-ethnographies in education, each examining digital teaching and learning practices, and applied both human-led interpretive synthesis and AI-supported coding to identify deeper, multi-layered themes. Our goal was to see how combining these approaches can expand the possibilities of qualitative research, both methodologically and pedagogically. As we progress through the slides, we will share our methods, findings, and reflections on using AI not as a replacement, but as a cognitive partner, specifically in the context of teacher professional development. Our research purpose. In this presentation, we explore how combining traditional meta-ethnographic synthesis with AI-assisted analysis can enrich qualitative research in education. Our central purpose was to examine whether large language models like ChatGPT can support, not replace, interpretive synthesis by identifying patterns, surfacing second-order constructs, and accelerating thematic analysis across multiple educational meta-ethnographies. We specifically focused on educational topics such as inclusion, identity, and pedagogy to see how meaning emerges across both human and AI-supported interpretations. Our research was guided by two key questions that reflect both the analytical and pedagogical dimensions of this study. First, we asked, how can AI tools like ChatGPT support qualitative synthesis in education? This question led us to explore how tools like ChatGPT can assist in identifying patterns, generating codes, and surfacing conceptual themes across existing meta-ethnographies. We were particularly interested in whether large language models could engage with educational research in meaningful ways without diminishing the interpretive richness that human-led analysis provides. The second question that we addressed was, in what ways can AI be used as a pedagogical partner? This shifted our focus toward the implications of AI for teacher learning and classroom practice. Rather than seeing AI as a threat to teacher expertise, we explored how it could support reflection, enhance curriculum development, and help educators analyze student work or feedback more effectively. In this sense, we wanted to see how AI could serve as a cognitive collaborator, enabling more adaptive, inclusive, and inquiry-driven pedagogies in the post-digital era. And Tsoghik Grigoryan will continue.
Yeah, so I'm going to take over and speak about meta-ethnography as a methodological framework. So this methodology was developed by Noblit and Hare in 1988. This is a qualitative synthesis method developed for interpretive analysis and at the same time developed to keep the interpretive depth of the primary studies. Unlike traditional systematic reviews that collate only the study findings, meta-ethnography looks at the study concepts and tries to translate them into one another using three different translation synthesis methods. The first one it uses is the reciprocal translation, which is looking and finding similar concepts across multiple studies, comparing them with one another and finding assemblages, working with the assemblages. The other one is the refutational translation synthesis that looks for controversial concepts by contrasting them to one another, tries to find the reasons why those differences occurred, how and when, and tries to find consensuses to those problems. And the last and third synthesis would be the line of argument synthesis, where this study tries to build a cohesive narrative over the findings and linkages. And with this, it proposes new frameworks and new concepts for the researchers to work on. So we have taken this method and expanded over 14 meta-ethnographic studies and called our study meta-ethnography because we conducted meta-ethnography on already published meta-ethnographic studies in the field of education and mainly in teacher education. So this method permitted us to run qualitative synthesis and preserve the interpretive depth of our 14 research articles, and it also enabled theoretical insights and cross-study comparisons. For our research, we used three post-humanistic theoretical frameworks, which are Deleuze and Guattari's rhizomatic thinking, Orlikovsky's sociomateriality, and Karen Barad's rhizomatic thinking. We call this post-humanistic because these theories challenge the idea of humanistic approaches that knowledge is only produced by humans and generated because of the human factor. Post-humanistic theories view the knowledge as a co-production of human and non-human factors, and non-human here would be humans working with the digital platforms, with virtual spaces, artificial intelligence, and etc. As you see on your screen, figure 1, rhizomatic map of the concepts from 14 meta-ethnographic studies that we have conducted. We came up with the rhizomatic map of this after Deleuze and Guattari. So Deleuze and Guattari's rhizome sees the knowledge as a rhizomatic network where information gets clustered according to assemblages. When we worked on our analysis and came up with these assemblages, this allowed us to look at information in new ways, look at the assemblages and branches of information and clusters that sprout out from wherever and whenever as the theory suggests. According to this theory, Education has no beginning and no end, and it can occur whenever and wherever, and never follows a linear or hierarchical model. So not following a linear model, knowledge production here is fluid, and therefore this theoretical framework supports our meta-ethnography by mapping transversal insights across our studies. The second theory that we have used for our research is Orlikovsky's sociomateriality, that sees the knowledge production as a combination of socio and materiality, society and technology. So it sees technology and society as mutually constitutive, and that research is shaped by socio-technical systems, and tools like artificial intelligence shape educational meaning making. Like these two frameworks, Karen Barat brings in agential realism and sees the knowledge production as a form of an entanglement which occurs through interactions and intra-actions in the quantum fields. Agential realism rejects representationalism, emphasizes material discursive entanglements, and accepts knowledge as a form of entanglement, and sees knowledge through the quantum fields. A vivid example of this theory is now us sitting in different time zones in different countries and having this conference together through the virtual platform, and in our case, through screens. According to this theory, everything has an agency, and the agency of the screen, that is our virtual quantum fields, would be different in knowledge production had we been in a different setting, physically sitting together in a physical room and exchanging knowledge. Our information would have been different in this case. However, in this context, with these factors, information making and gaining is different. So depending on various actors, entanglements, interactions, and intra-actions, we form knowledge together with the non-human factors. And these three frameworks helped us to see and to analyze our information and data in a fluid way, taking knowledge as not static, as not observable, but as relational, that can occur and sprout according to different contexts. So our study followed the dual analytical approach, and on your screen you see our study plan in figure 1, which is a which shows dual analytical routes as triangulation, human versus AI supported synthesis of meta-ethnographies. So in the first phase, we employed our studies. We did this manually in a traditional way, following Noblit and Hare's 7-step analytical model. In step 1 and 2, we employed our studies by choosing them according to a scheme of inclusion and exclusion that we have prepared. We prepared this scheme according to our research questions and the key ideas that we wanted to analyze and research. So we made sure that our articles are from the field of education and mainly teacher education, that they were published in open access journals, high-ranked peer-reviewed journals, and they are free and published online so that we can later put that through ChatGPT. In the second phase, which is our phase 3 and 4, we read those articles, we summarized them, we worked on the coding and theming. After that followed the decision stage, where we decided which articles to include and which ones to exclude. So out of 52 recruited articles, we came up with 14 only, which fit our scheme of inclusion and exclusion. Then after that, stage 5 and 6, we gave to the translation synthesis, and we put them through the 3 translation synthesis methods that I discussed earlier. And after the synthesis were done, we moved to the study analysis, expressed the synthesis, and elaborated more on our findings. To triangulate our results, we needed another interpretive layer to our research study, and therefore we ran artificial intelligence supported synthesis of large language model ChatGPT, and ChatGPT did the 7-stage manual analysis that took us 5 to 6 months. It did it within 2 or 3 minutes, if not seconds. So it conducted a 3-phase analysis. According to our prompts, of course, we put the links of the articles that were already published and open access in ChatGPT and asked to open code. After the open coding, we ran thematic clustering, and in phase 3, we moved to our theoretical frameworks and ran agential realism, sociomaterial, and rhizomatic synthesis. The next stage would have been here for us to co-generate. So we have here the human-made, we have the artificial AI-made, and now it is time for us to co-generate and co-construct knowledge according to our post-humanistic theories. ChatGPT created the content. It was good, but it didn't know that it did a great work. So it's now our time to choose and pick and compare our results with that and co-construct knowledge together with the machine. And here you see the comparative framework of what we have done. In this table, we've divided it into 2 dimensions, the pilot study and the analysis. And the most interesting part here would be the findings. So after the manual approach, the AI augmented meta-synthesis were run. The coding firstly was human-led, and after it was ChatGPT generated conceptual codes and then reviewed by the researchers. Synthesis was done through the 3 reciprocal refutational line of argument translations, and then ChatGPT in its ran thematic clustering of the same theoretical frameworks. After that, the output time in the researchers ran the reflexive analysis, went through the rich translations, compared and contrasted, chose the best sections of it and compared it with the thematic clarity, speed, and detection sections of the AI analysis. The findings of our pilot study showed that methodological richness and philosophical depth of meta-ethnography for synthesizing complex qualitative literature was a success. It offered high validity. Though it was time-consuming and labor-intensive, it gave it successfully gave us introduced us and let us see the depth of all of these studies with keeping the interpretive richness of that. And then AI analysis demonstrated a supportive analytical tool. It gave us efficient and broad view to see the themes, patterns, and connections. It was less contextually nuanced, but it was scalable, transparent, and highly reflexive. So together with the machine, we successfully evaluated our data and came up with the final results. And this is our final results that you see now on your screen. So together with the machine, we came up with our 4 themes. And our 4 themes were language, identity, and inclusion, metaphors and creative expressions, structure, resilience, and systems. And the fourth one, risk, resistance, and critical agency. So our findings showed us that we can say language shapes the identity and inclusion through socio-material practices and multilingual fluidity. We also can say that metaphors and media enable creative, affective learning beyond rigid norms. Our study showed that systems of support and fairness are adaptive, material, and networked, and that also resistance emerges through subversive, nonlinear student practices and material agencies. The most important section of our research is our key findings. So we found that artificial intelligence can serve as a reflective pedagogical tool if used mindfully, and if it follows the ethical considerations. So the teachers can use AI, and in our case ChatGPT, to analyze student work, to compare and contrast daily routines, work on their reflections, be more creative about classroom discourse. AI can support teacher inquiry and data-informed instructional decisions. As well, artificial intelligence can serve as a shift toward adaptive pedagogies. And it can serve so by embracing nonlinear and rhizomatic fluid learning models. It can also foster inclusive environments by recognizing language diversity, identity negotiations, and etc. So it can also serve as a professional development tool for teachers, as hybrid analytic models can be embedded in collaborative teacher research. They can promote AI-assisted cycles of reflection by enabling ongoing curriculum revisions and contextual responsiveness. So our interpretive integration would be that human and AI methods can be triangulated, and can be triangulated successfully, and that together AI and humans can co-constitute, can co-work, and can co-generate, and this would enrich insights into inclusion, identity, and new ways in the pedagogy. Since we're dealing with the digital natives, and most of the teachers are digital immigrants, as Mark Prensky highlights, we need to meet the needs of our digital native students in our classroom. And to do so, we need to radically change our pedagogies, because we're facing a vital agent time now that we need to prepare ourselves to meet the needs of our students today. And our students today went through technogenesis, and sometimes they stand higher than the teachers in their digital knowledge, and so that teachers should be prepared to meet the needs of their students in this day and time. Last but not least, we would like to speak about the limitations of this study. And the limitations would be here highlighted by us, only 5, but surely there would be many more if we go deep into the study. So artificial intelligence lacks human intuition, and the quality of AI outputs depend on prompts that researchers give. Therefore, we try to triangulate our data and not rely merely on artificial intelligence generation. So a human factor is crucial while working with the machine, and therefore our post-humanistic theories helped us to overcome this limitation. Not fully, but we tried. So AI's black box nature poses challenges for transparency and trust in qualitative research. And of course, black box nature, meaning we teachers and researchers do not know how these platforms work in reality. And therefore, we need to be careful about the input we give to these platforms and the output we accept. Only ChatGPT was used in our research, but there are many more platforms, AI platforms there in the field. For example, QualiGPT that works with the qualitative data and is safe to be used. Had we included another platform, our results would have been different. So researcher bias is always in there since we're dealing with qualitative research, and interpretive frames may have shaped theme identifications. We would like to say that educators and researchers can collaborate according to the findings of this study with AI as cognitive patterns partners, producing insights that inform curriculum design, professional learning, and socially responsive educational models. So to conclude with Karen Barad's words, we are not merely observers of this world. We are participants in its becoming, and we need to make sure that we have our role in its becoming. So thank you very much, and we're open for questions.
Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask the speakers? I have a question. Did you try another traditional qualitative software? Like, I think ANOVA is one.
NVivo? Yeah, we also conducted another study, and we used NVivo for that. But that is not AI. It also takes some time. It is better than the manual, of course, but working with AI is quicker, gives the data scalability. So yeah, for triangulation, I think that's a great tool to be used. But there are the NVivo is the best qualitative platform program to be used. Yeah.